And obviously, just the last one, because you fought in the middleweight division as well. I just wanted your thoughts on the Hamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland fight. Like, who do you think comes out the victor on that fight?
Yeah, again, I spoke about it the other day. I don't even think that fight shouldn't even exist right now. I feel like, yeah, again, I don't know who's making decisions to make these fights. And I'm sure they know better than me, but just from the outside looking in, I feel like Imavov would deserved the fight, and that's the fight we should be talking about right now. But I've had the pleasure of seeing Chimaev in the gym, working very closely with him, and that guy's a monster. Yeah, he's not normal, and it's I always say it's nice to see someone that is high, that is very high level in a slightly different area, and I'm watching him, and it was beautiful to watch, beautiful to watch. So yeah, it's seeing it up close and personal. Obviously, seeing it in the fights, but seeing it up close and personal he's going to be a tough person to beat.
Specifically outnumbering Sean, that Sean is going to pull out his gun and he's going to shoot each one of them. Yeah, it's a little strong. I gotta tell you, it's a little strong. And you want to know why? You want to know why it takes the playfulness out of it? Because we know that Sean carries a gun. And we also know that Chimaev is known to travel in a pack. And we also know that Sean loves to build and promote a fight, and Chimaev isn't afraid to do his end of it. Like, my point is, this coming together is more likely to happen than not to happen. So now we got the issue of the gun.
All right, fans, you saw the headline. Chaos erupts. Strickland jailed. While that specific scenario is hypothetical, music, the chilling truth is the situation surrounding Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev carries a very real volatile undercurrent. What you just heard isn't just typical fight promotion. It's a stark warning about the path this rivalry is on. When a professional fighter, explicitly, discusses pulling a gun, it transforms the entire dynamic. This isn't about points or a referee. It's about a known gun owner, a rival who travels with a crew, and a confrontation that our expert here, Chel Suinen, believes is more likely than not. The playfulness is gone, and what's left is a dangerous equation that could escalate far beyond.
Okay, stay with me on this, because I was in this exact spot. I had heat with Wanderlei Silva. Ever bit as hot as Strickland and Chimaev beef. In fact, the stories oddly resemble one another. Strickland and Chimaev met and trained with each other at Extreme Couture. I met Wanderlei Silva and trained with him at Extreme Couture. Somewhere things get off the rails. Somewhere the community really likes the idea of us fighting. Somewhere this becomes a main event in a feature match or one that gets talked about. And I'm just sharing, like, there was a lot of parallels. And then I ended up in Brazil.
This is where the story gets incredibly personal and serves as a powerful cautionary tale. Chael isn't just speculating. He's recounting his own experience. A beef with Wanderlei Silva that mirrored Strickland and Chimaev's history almost exactly down to training together before things went sideways. Music, it highlights how quickly friendly rivalries can devolve, especially when the community and even the promotions themselves start to romanticize and amplify the conflict. This isn't just background noise. It's a critical build-up context that shows how easily the lines between sport and dangerous reality can blur, creating an environment ripe for true.
Ended up in Brazil. And when I got to Brazil, there was a number of death threats against me. And some of them got rather specific. I remember seeing one, in fact, that discussed the body of water, the lake, that they were going to hide my body after they killed me. And like, that was one that kind of stood out, where Vinny even got a hold of me and goes, hey man, we might want to vet this one. This guy's got a timeline, and this guy's getting a little more into detail than most people. I think that we might actually have a crazy person here. All right, so I get to Brazil.
Think about the sheer psychological impact of this. Chael arrived in Brazil, a foreign country, and was immediately confronted not just with general threats, but with disturbingly specific death threats. Details about lakes, Hiding bodies. This isn't trash talk. This is a quieter, emotional moment revealing the profound fear and vulnerability even a seasoned fighter faces when targeted by genuine malice. Music. It's a stark reminder that outside the controlled environment of a press conference, words can translate into real terrifying intentions. The concern from his own team about a crazy person.
So I get to Brazil, and I have a security detail. And within that detail, there is bulletproof cars. There's communications. Like these are very advanced, high elite military of Brazil that are now in the private sector, and they're doing private details, and they've got guns. I end up getting jumped. You call it jumped? I don't know what else to call it. By Vanderlei Silva and his team. A melee. Whatever happens. I've made up with Vanderlei Silva, so I want to use correct, right? But we had something. Something happens with Vanderlei and my security guy is there.
So Chael is facing genuine threats, and he gets the kind of security detail you see in action movies, former elite military bulletproof cars, communications, and guns. Yet despite this comprehensive protection, he still ends up in a melee jumped by Vanderlei Silva and his team. This is a crucial personal story that highlights the unpredictable nature of real-world altercations. Even the most robust security isn't foolproof against a determined adversary, especially when emotions run high and the lines between a planned fight and an impulsive street confrontation get utterly blurred.
It happens with Vanderlei and my security guy is there. My security guy's job is to make sure that this very thing doesn't happen to me. The reason that he is part of a 7-man detail that's got bulletproof vehicles and is with me 24 hours a day is to make sure that I don't get outnumbered, jumped, and beat up. And the way that he's going to make sure that that doesn't happen is he has a firearm.
Here's a chilling technical breakdown of what high-stakes security really means. Chael's guard wasn't there to throw punches or grapple. His explicit job was to prevent Chael from being outnumbered and assaulted. And his method, his technical solution, was to use a firearm. This isn't a hypothetical. This is the reality of armed protection. When you introduce a gun into any equation, the rules change fundamentally. It's a critical piece of build-up context for understanding the severity of Strickland's earlier comments and the dangerous path he's walking.
So this does happen. And the guy is very bothered. My security is but this handsome guy. This guy was like straight out of a movie. This guy was straight out of a James Bond movie. But when this actually happened, when the event actually happened that I'm speaking about, where I'm getting jumped, Rodrigo doesn't know what to do other than to shoot Vanderlei.
The moment the altercation happened, the guard, a man described like he walked out of a James Bond movie, was faced with a life or death decision. His specialized training kicked in, and his primary, perhaps only solution was to shoot. This behind-scenes insight reveals the terrifying simplicity of professional armed response. They aren't trained for a fair fight or a sporting contest. They are trained for immediate neutralization of a threat. Music. It's a powerful reaction clip that illustrates the raw, unfiltered consequences when verbal threats transform into physical confrontation involving a weapon.
He goes, hey, by the way, you guys jumped Chael the other day, and I'm here to protect Chael from this very thing. And I didn't do anything in that moment because I kind of froze, but if that happens again, I'm going to let my training take over and I'm going to shoot you. And so then he comes in my room and he tells me, hey, everything's cool, man. I'm sorry about yesterday, but everything's cool. I sat down with Vanderlei. I just let him know if this happens again, I'm going to shoot him. I'm like, whoa! It was very matter of fact. I'm trying to act it out the way he did it. And this guy was very cool. This guy was very handsome. But he said like this real matter of fact, like, hey, about yesterday. Caught me sleeping on the job, won't happen again, boss.
This segment offers incredible psychological insight into the mindset of a professional protector. The guard Rodrigo confronts Wonder, coolly informing him that if the jump happens again, his training dictates he will shoot. Then he returns to Chael, matter-of-factly relaying this chilling ultimatum. There's no emotion, just cold, hard duty. It showcases the reactions of someone operating purely on protocol. creating a deeply uncomfortable behind-scenes moment that underscores the brutal reality of the situation and the stark difference between sport and survival.
Caught me sleeping on the job, won't happen again, boss. Pull this out, put a couple slugs right in, I'm going to end that if that ever happens again. And I remember going, no, wait a minute, whoa, wait, please. In no scenario are you to shoot Vanderlei Silva. And I literally told him this, and he's like, well, no, that's my job. These guys jumped you. These guys tried to harm you. You were out. No, this is my job. The next time I'm going to do my job. I'm like, no. Whatever it means for me, whatever happens to me, if I got to go to the hospital, whatever happens to me, let it happen to me. Promise me you will not shoot Vanderlei Silva. And we had to go through this whole thing, and frankly, I don't know how it got...
A powerful internal struggle. Despite being the target, he desperately pleads with his own bodyguard not to kill Wanderlei Silva. He argues against the guard's very job description, prioritizing another human life over his own immediate safety. It highlights the immense moral and ethical conflict that arises when violence escalates to a lethal level. Shale's reactions here are incredibly human, underscoring the gravity of real-world violence and the heavy burden of consequence.
Resolved. Like, I don't know if in his mind he was still going to shoot. All I know is that I was pleading, don't shoot Vanderlei Silva. And so I'm just pleading with Sean Strickland. Don't shoot Chimaev. Whatever happens, they walk up to you, they're using a different language, there's a few of them. Don't shoot Chimaev. And don't talk about shooting Chimaev. Like, the fun kind of comes out of it. And I had this explained to me one time by a cop. And the cop was saying that you'll always see in the media that we shut an unarmed person. Something along those lines. And the officer explained to me, there is no such thing as an unarmed person if I'm involved.
Shaw's personal experience culminates in a heartfelt direct plea to Sean Strickland. Don't shoot.
Chami.
This isn't just emotional. It's backed by a critical technical breakdown from a police officer. The cops point that there's no such thing as an unarmed person if I'm involved because I'm bringing the gun fundamentally changes the narrative. It dismantles the idea of a fair fight or a playful altercation when a firearm is present. This is vital build-up context for understanding the true stakes of Strickland.
Such thing as an unarmed person if I'm involved. Because I'm bringing the gun. Every fight that I go into involves a gun because I brought it. And believe me, whoever gets control of that gun is going to win the altercation. Now, you take that and do with that what you want. This isn't my attempt to make a political statement, but I do remember Detective, State Police Randy Westbrook told me that. And I've never forgot it, and he's right. You have an altercation that involves a gun because you're bringing it. Whoever gets control of that gun. Do you see the problem? Let's just not bring the gun.
This is a stark psychological and technical breakdown that every fighter, every individual needs to hear. The detective's insight that any altercation becomes about the gun you brought and whoever controls it wins is a chilling truth. It strips away any romanticized notion of a street fight. It immediately escalates the stakes to lethal levels purely by the presence of the weapon. This serves as a potent analysis of the absolute danger inherent in Sean Strickland's threats, forcing us to consider the real deadly consequences.